Hey everybody, it's me, Kai, and who are you?
Yeah.
It's Maya, and we would like to cook with you this morning. Surprise! And actually, instead of cooking, we're going to bake because we know, as I've said before, it's something that we like to do together when we are at home during the day. And in honor of our express to decompress, just let it go, we also decided to cook in our dresses because someone wanted to bake in our dresses this morning. And I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's express ourselves with our baking and just do whatever comes to mind. So we're going to try this new recipe that we've never done before for keto, so sugar-free Samoa bars. You know, since those Girl Scout cookies are kind of all the rave, and we want to have a little something to, you know, what's the word? Feed our sweet tooth, satiate our sweet tooth, but in a way that is healthy, that's not going to sort of rile up all of those I don't know, what is it? What do we call it? The hyperactivity or whatever happens when kids and we eat processed sugar. It, you know, messes with the wires in our brain and we go a little crazy. So we're going to do a version of these cookies that are a little better for us. Hands all clean, Maya? You ready to go? So I will post a link to the recipe that I'm using. It's All Day I Dream About Foods blog, where they post a lot of keto-friendly, paleo-friendly recipes, low-carb, carbohydrate recipes that you can use. She is an amazing baker, and I'm going to help dry her hands off. And this recipe, I've been waiting to try this recipe for like a month. So I'm glad to do it with you before I run off to go play a wonderful little gig with some wonderful people this afternoon. So, ready, here we go. I have our oven preheated to 325 degrees. We're going to melt some butter. And this is all for our shortbread crust, which can be used for a lot of different recipes. I'm going to double the recipe because I'm going to make an extra crust to do some creative baking. Okay. Maya, are you going to help me? Okay. So I'm going to start melting the butter. Can you reach the one? Actually, push this one. 3, 0. You got it? All right. So the butter is going to melt. And then we are going to add almond flour, which I have two kinds. So this is from Trader Joe's. You know, that's my favorite place to get ingredients and things. But we want to use the blanched almond flour. My absolute favorite though is the Bob's Red Mill. It's a little bit more expensive, but the quality is a little bit better. The ingredients are a little bit better, but this will do if that's what you have access to. So we're going to add just a little more time on the butter. I started at 30 seconds, but you know, I don't want it to become too cooked up, which it is. So let's maybe mix it around a little bit. Can you grab a spoon for me, Miss Maya? A little spoon for me out of the drawer. We're just going to mix it around a bit, and then I'm going to cover it with a paper towel because that will help keep it from splattering around. Just mix it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Perfect. We'll even maybe flip this around so that different sides of this final piece of butter can melt. And yes, you can taste it if you want. It might be hot, so be careful. She loves butter, but don't we all? And when you're using the butter for these recipes, you want to get the organic pasture-raised butter if you can. Again, it preserves the nutrients in the butter a little bit better. And I mean, I believe that most butters aren't adding hormones anymore, but just to be safe, we go with organic and pasture-raised because it's actually better for you, a better nutrient profile and all that stuff. Okay, so while this is finishing, you need to cough into your elbow. Thank you. And then, can you go wash your hands really fast? You won't miss anything. So we're going to measure out the almond flour. When Maya gets back, she's going to pour it in for us. So we're doubling the recipe. So instead of 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, we're going to use 2 1/2 cups of almond flour. All right, so I'll measure it out here for Maya to add. Are you okay, baby? All of the allergies here are pretty intense, so we're all fighting with a little bit of extra congestion. So here is one cup.
How many does it say?
We need 2 cups and 1/2 cup of flour.
Oh.
2 cups. Hold on, let's make sure. All right, there's 2 cups. And then this last little bit, I'll let you pour it in. Half a cup of flour. Add it on in. All right. A little extra got stuck in there. Good job, Miss Maya. And see, another reason why I wanted to try and bake is because this is where I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm really great at adding or, combining flavors and making savory dishes. But again, in spirit of this challenge, I started embracing this whole keto baking thing and trying to come up with ways to push my limits and to get better and to accept that, sometimes it's not going to turn out exactly how I want to, but, just to let it go and enjoy the journey and enjoy, every single moment that I could learn a little bit more about myself. Same with you. Do you like baking, Maya?
Yes.
I do too. I love baking with you. So we've got the almond flour here. And let's see what's next. Almond flour, we need the sweetener. Let's see, we need, how much sweetener do we need? Let's see, 1/4 of a cup. Doubled is actually going to be 1/2 of a cup. So this 1/4 plus 1/4 is equal to 1/2. So we're going to add 1/2 of a cup of this Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. That's my favorite sweetener. And you can actually get away with adding a little bit less than the recipe calls for. This particular recipe calls for Swerve sweetener. I don't use Swerve. No reason why. It's just wasn't my favorite, I guess, when I've sampled it in the past. And I liked that this had monk fruit in it and it wasn't just plain erythritol. And I like how the flavors combine. So I'm adding just a little bit less than 1/2 of a cup because we don't actually need the full shebang for the sugar. And I like to reduce the sweetness wherever I can. Not because I don't love sweet stuff, but because, I also don't want us to get addicted to sugar again. I don't want us to get addicted to having things be super, super cloyingly sweet. So we've got that. We need 1/2 a teaspoon of salt, so double that. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Doubled is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So you want to hold that spoon over the bowl, and we'll go with 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All right, got that. And this is what the salt that I am using, Himalayan pink salt. Comes in many forms. Also found at Trader Joe's.
Pink.
This one I found at Wegmans. I like it because it's simpler than having to grind it out.
Pink. I love pink.
I know. Pink is your favorite color. Now what's next? Butter. But first, we're going to mix this up a little bit so that we integrate the ingredients and then we'll stir in the melted butter. Okay, so you can have a peek at what we're doing here. A little auto zoom, manual zoom. So Miss Maya is mixing them all up so that the flavors integrate, and then we are going to add our melted butter, which is being a little stubborn about melting. We need to have it melt a little bit more. No, hold on. Let me get this kind of broken up a little bit. Because normally I find that it doesn't take a super long time for the butter to melt. But I guess maybe the butter that I used, maybe that was a little colder than normal, or part of it was a little cooler than normal. So I'm not sure. 10 more seconds should do it. And that's perfect because Maya can finish stirring up a little bit. I'm getting this nice shortbread crust. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the extra crust. Maybe we'll drizzle make some strawberry sauce and drizzle that on top and make some like strawberry cookies. This looks amazing, Maya. You're doing a great job. Here, finish it up. I'm going to pour in the butter while you keep stirring. And
I'm making a little hole.
that's a great idea, Maya. That'll help the ingredients to integrate a little bit better. Maya's always paying attention.
Good, there's a hole.
All right, well, here comes the butter. That's all right. Here comes the butter. Get ready to start stirring. Okay. Here we go. Beautiful. And I'm even gonna try and get a good job. Remember to hold the bowl so that we don't lose anything. And try to integrate those ingredients together.
It's so mushy.
I know. It's gonna stir up into a beautiful dough. Let's stir together. You have to cough where? Thank you. Ooh, what's it look like, Maya?
Dough.
Yep. We're starting to get all of these little dough balls as the butter and the almond flour and the salt combine. Help me, help me, help me.
I don't want to get floured in there again.
Oh, well, it happens sometimes, you know, like when we're cooking and when we're doing things in life, it gets a little bit messy. But you know what? It's okay. Express to decompress and let it all go. So we've got our strong foundation. We've got our movement from the core. Okay, Maya. Can you step back for just a little bit while you talk? Thank you. Well, I mean, we're making these for the family, so it should be okay.
I'm a little coffee.
Yes, I know. We're not contagious, but we still have to be careful, okay? All right, so this is all mixed
I'm going to press down.
up.
You like dough.
And then we are going to I guess sort of press this mixture into the pan. So
let's put it in the pan.
let me see. Let's try a spatula. Not a spatula. Is this what this is called? Yeah, we should be able to press it into the pan. So I'm going to kind of mix it together and press it together a little bit so you can see it was very crumbly at first, or it is crumbly, but I am actually pressing it together a little bit so it integrates. And then when we put it in the pan, that's what we're going to do. We're going to press it down so that it's not really crumbly anymore, but it, you know, sort of takes the shape of our pan. So we're going to get an 8x8 square pan. And for the second crust, I'm going to try using the springform pan because I've got it and I hardly ever use it, and maybe that'll turn into a little shortbread cake or something like that.
But
I don't know.
Use this stuff.
Yep, these are all of our ingredients here, ready to go. So we're going to divide this in half. Okay, and so we'll go right down the middle, like that. Okay, and so we're going to take half of it. I will do this part. And I'm going to take half, and I'm going to put it in here, and then I'm going to have you, Maya, press it down. Okay, once I get the other half into the other pan, which, I don't know, maybe I should have greased the bottom of the pan before I put it in here. So, let's see.
Can I do it?
Hold on, let me do this one, you can do that one. Because this one is going to be a little tricky because I have to kind of move it all around since I already put stuff in it. So be a little flexible. So I'm going to add some butter on the bottom here, on half of it, and then scooch it over. Because I'm just guessing we want this to be a little greased. Just so it's easier to pull it up at the end.
Now what is it time?
Huh? Almost time. We'll put this here. Scooch it over to the other side. And then I'll have you press it in. Can you just hold that for me before you press? And I'll finish adding the butter to this side. All right, now let me spread it around. I might even use my hands first. Beep, beep. So spread it around so it's even. And then actually, if you want, you could even use your fingers to sort of press it into the pan so it makes a dough and there are no spaces around the sides. Okay, so you want it to be even. So we're going to make a small little crust for the bottom of our cookie doughs. You're probably just looking at the side of my neck for the longest time. Sorry about that. All right. So we've got one of these crusts. We want it to be as we want it to be when we actually make the cookies. Of course, we don't need that yet. Okay, Maya, don't take from that one because that one's going over there. Unless, what were you trying to even it out for us so that we didn't have any holes anywhere? Well, thank you. That was an excellent plan.
This shouldn't be out there.
Oh, yeah, get that other piece and let's get that in there. Okay, now we have to do the other one. Do you want to butter this pan? Okay. So spread the butter all around the bottom and the sides. You probably have to hold the pan. Now keep pressing everything in. All right, so we've got one of those keto doughs ready. Okay, really get the butter all over the place, on the sides and everything. So we have it pressed to the bottom of the pan. Miss Maya's getting the butter ready, and then we're going to press this one into the springform pan to see what it does. I'm excited about our creative recipe on the side. And for those who are just tuning in, we are making some sugar-free keto Samoa bars. Not the Momoa bars, because, you know, he's not here. But this is so we can get our Girl Scout cookie fix in for the season. I used to love my caramel delights, and then I realized that they had some ingredients, perfect. They had some ingredients in there that I wasn't a huge fan of, like high fructose corn syrup and partially hydrogenated oils and things like that. So I kind of stopped eating Girl Scout cookies the longest time, and then I came across this recipe, and I'm really hoping it's going to satisfy all of those, you know, little inclinations toward having something yummy like Girl Scout cookies or brownies or all the other amazing things that you can make into a lovely keto recipe. So this is going to be nice and thin like the other one. So first you have to spread it around. I know this one actually is going to be really thin. So let's see if we can, kind of like pizza dough, kind of work it in the middle and then spread it out so you can see how far this dough will actually go. Thank you. I know, I love doing this together. Here, let me come on this side so that people can see a little bit more. And how are we doing, Maya? Is it starting to be even?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. We're doing a great job together. Let's turn it around this way so we can.
It's a circle and a square.
That's right. We'll have two different shapes of crust. And for the circle one, we get to do some creative things with it once it's ready. We're going to see exactly what we want to do. Maybe we'll make a berry sauce to sprinkle on top and make a little shortbread cookie or something interesting that we've never tried before. Because, you know, what is life if we're not trying things without a recipe? Which is really scary for me because I am not a baker. And yet I'm baking, which means I'm a baker, right? So, you know, just think of all those things that maybe you were afraid to try or afraid to do that, you know, you realized once you actually did them, it wasn't so bad. And then think of all those things that maybe you're afraid of now that you could try that might turn out to be something that you love, but, you know, you're keeping yourself away from it because you're maybe afraid to express that desire, or you have to dry your hands, please. Thank you. But yeah, like, think of all of those things that, you know, you haven't been able to do because you're holding yourself back.
Yes.
So today, do something courageous, like bake when you don't like to bake, or, I don't know, go out and have a day to yourself just because you can.
Oh, put in this one.
Okay, well, we have to put it in the oven. So can you do me a favor? Can you stand back a
I'm
little
going
bit?
to put it in the pan. Not in the oven.
In the oven. Has to bake up. So then we can put stuff on top. All right, open, open, open. All right, so put one on each level. And we're going to bake that up for about 15 to 18 minutes. Okay, so let's see. Nope, not that part. So we're going to set the timer. So hit the timer button and then push the up button until you get to 15, 2, 3, and go all the way up to 15.
I did.
That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes. All right, so while that is baking, we're going to work on our chocolate filling. So we're going to grab a small microwavable bowl. I'm going to add 4 ounces of chocolate because we're not going to double the filling or anything like that. We're just going to double the crust. So 4 ounces is roughly equal to an entire bar of chocolate. So we have a couple of versions here that I have found. So Sunspire, this is completely unsweetened chocolate. You can find sugar-free chocolate that's sweetened with stevia, so you don't have to actually add extra sugar like I'm going to add to this to make it more palatable, because by itself 100% dark chocolate is kind of inedible. It's super, super bitter, and you can use it for baking and things like that, but you have to add sugar of some sort. We're going to be using the Lakanto. I'm probably going to add the powdered sugar to see how that goes with that. So this is at Trader Joe's. I know Trader Joe's has everything. Seriously, I love Trader Joe's. But this is new, 100% dark chocolate. So if you're trying to cut out the sugar, you can find your sweetener of choice, or maybe you find you actually don't mind the bitterness of this. But this is a great option. It's got 6 carbohydrates and 4 grams of dietary fiber. So you subtract the fiber, and this comes out to only 2 grams of like carbohydrates that actually affect your blood sugar per serving. A serving is 1/4 of a bar, which, you know, when the recipe works itself out, that's about what you're going to be getting per bar or per cookie roughly from the chocolate. But that's just coming from the chocolate. There's no extra sugar added to this. So, all right, so we're going to take 4 ounces of chocolate. No, you don't need to mix it. I'm going to break it up just a little bit so that it's a little bit easier to melt. I do have to supplement with a little bit of this as well. I know, this cooking with Kai is kind of interesting because, you know, I don't set up like a cooking show. I don't prepare things ahead of time, but I like that because then we can cook together, whether you're here live and you're cooking with me or you're just cooking along with the video on your own time, which as we do more and more of these challenges, you know, I will get better about posting the recipes and things because, you know, I'm learning as well as we go along. So we're going to add just a little bit of this one, just so that we make sure we have enough. You can break it up a little bit if you can.
What does it taste like?
The same. Remember you tasted it? It's the same as the other. Ah, there we go. So we add the chocolate. We're going to melt the chocolate and some coconut oil. We're going to add just enough so that it can help melt the coconut oil down. So 4 tablespoons of coconut oil. So we're going to use this. 4 tablespoons. It's kind of a lot with coconut oil. There's 1. And since it's oil, we kind of just have to push it in with our finger. So there's
it's oil.
1. I need to do more. Okay. And here comes number 2.
Maybe I'm going to do this
finger.
one.
Yeah, thank you. Here, let's do it together. You got to really, get down in there. Help me push it off my finger. Thank you. 2. And we need 2 more of these. We've already got 2. We need 4. Oh, almost. A little more. 3. Got it?
1 more.
And then we'll have how many?
4.
That's right. Like you. Right.
Let me do this. You help.
Okay. Yeah, you got to kind of really scoop it over and over again. And then it kind of gathers in the spoon. Almost. Do you want me to get a good big scoop? She got to kind of get really...
It's the same amount every time I scoop it up.
Oh, okay. Ugh. Let me get down in there with my really long arms. There we go. And add that last little bit in there. And so then we're going to add a little bit of sweetener to this as well. And let me think. Again, not a baker, so I don't know if it's better to add the sweetener when it's melting or if we're just going to mix it up after. I'm going to try and mix it up after it's melted just to see if that helps a little bit and make sure that the sugar doesn't burn or anything, or, you know, we can actually integrate the sugar with the oil and the chocolate. So we're going to melt this down. About 30 seconds at a time. We're going to stir it up in between. Do you want to go wash your hands?
I'm washing
Or you can
them.
rub it in. Here, put it on my skin.
But
Coconut oil is great for everything. So here, just put it on my arms.
because coconut,
Yep, on this one too.
because coconut oil helps things feel softer.
That's right. I'm going to rub it in. You can put some on your arms too. Why not? And then we're going to go wash our hands really quickly while this cooks for 30 seconds. All right, so first time through, 30 seconds. And then we'll check it. I doubt it will take that long for it to melt down, but I mean, coconut oil, argan oil, amazing for the skin and the hair for most of us. You have to see if it works for you. Everybody's different, but for my skin, it's been absolutely amazing. The coconut oil was great for cradle cap when Maya was a baby. You know, all kinds of different things you can do with the coconut oil. Argan oil, I use in my hair every day. It's pretty fantastic. Seen amazing results. Okay, so let's take this and let's get a different spoon. We have to stir it up a little bit.
Me.
I'll start it.
I can
because this is a stir and fold. Okay.
stir,
Hold the bowl.
stir,
Get it all in there.
stir.
Okay. Clean hands and now dry hands. All right, just a little bit, and then we're going to stick it back in for 30 more seconds.
I can reach the handle really, really well.
You sure can. And I love what a good helper you are. So while that is cooking, we'll get ready for the next step. Okay, so we're gonna make this melted and smooth. We could also do this with a double boiler, which I don't have. I've tried it before and it works pretty well actually, but today we're going to use the microwave because we're going to keep it quick and easy. Now, while we are working with that, Maya's going to be our stirrer. Right, so stir it a little more, and then we're going to put it back in. So just mix it around 1 or 2 times. Try not to get it on the sides because we don't want to lose that chocolate, and that's all we need. We just need to move it around. Okay.
I'm gonna do it one time.
Yep, it's getting better.
Chocolate soup. That looks like chocolate soup.
It does look like chocolate soup. So that's after about a minute of chocolatizing. Now we're at 1:30 seconds. And Maya, while we do that, we're gonna go on to our coconut filling. All right, so we've got our pan here. And for this, we're gonna grab our coconut. I'm gonna turn this on to medium. Let's move this over so we have some space. Medium heat. We're gonna brown this coconut. Okay, we're gonna use 3 cups of coconut. I hope we have enough coconut. Or no, 1.5 cups of coconut. That's right, because we're not doubling the coconut. So.
Where's the spoon?
Oh, here it is.
I'm gonna check if no more.
Stir it around very gently.
It's soft.
Almost done. Still a little mushy. We want it to all integrate together.
Can taste it.
We can taste it after we use it, okay?
Can I
Because right
taste
now it's
that?
not sweet yet. We've got to add the sugar in there. So maybe after we add the sugar and we're done using that, I'll pour a little on your spoon so you can taste. All right, so for the coconut, we need 1.5 cups. Okay, so there's your 1 cup. So, not over the chocolate. All right, so put it right there. Keep it over the pan, so if anything falls, it goes over the pan. So there's almost 1 cup. There you go. No, in the pan. Gracias. And then we need 1/2 of a cup. You're gonna hold it. So set that on the side. Okay. 1.5 cups. Oh, we have to put this back in for one more set of 30 seconds. So we're now at 2 minutes for the meltiness of the chocolatiness. Is chocolate your favorite?
Yes.
Yes. Tell them.
I love chocolate because it's sweet.
Oh. What's your favorite chocolate dessert, Maya?
Chocolate candy.
Chocolate candy?
Yes.
Cool. You know, we have recipes to make our own chocolate candy too. So one of these days, we're going to do that as well. So, while this is finishing up, Maya, can you stir the coconut around just a little bit? Ah, not that part. There you go, because I think the chocolate's kind of ready to go.
In here.
And it's going to be ready just in, oh, yeah, keep stirring that around. And so as you can see, the chocolate is lovely. It's melted.
I'm making a hole for the chocolate.
And we're going to add some powdered.
What is it?
Oh, hold on a second. One moment. We've all arrived home. Yay! Hubs is home. Maya, can you bring back the pan? We're doing a little live cooking here. We're making some
Wanna come cook with us?
Keto Samoa bars with all of the coconut.
Hey, I'm not supposed to make the hole. You messed
no.
it up.
No, we don't need a hole. We actually need all of the coconut to touch the pan so it can start turning golden brown. So we're toasting it a little bit. And once we do that, okay, not too much.
Good.
Yeah, and then we can let it sit here for a while it starts to cook up.
What's that?
This is powdered sugar. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the powdered sugar. And you're going to put it in the chocolate. Just going to add 1 tablespoon to this and see how it goes as we sweeten it. Okay, so pour that in. There you go. And then now you can mix it up. You might actually need to use the whisk for this.
This whisk?
Let me actually give you a new, no, leave that there. Thank you. Thank you. Here. You can use that whisk.
This one's little.
right, get it mixed up.
And inside the
Nice
chocolate.
and well. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Lovely. And
One more.
hello. Hello out there. Thanks for tuning in live. Miss Maya and I are cooking some keto Samoa bars. So if you want to get your Girl Scout cookie in without all of the, you know, the anxiety over worrying about what that's going to do to
Mom,
your
it's on
body.
0.
Oh, our shortbread is ready. This recipe seems like it's going to be great for that. So our coconut is starting to get nice and golden. So we are going to take that out. We'll find a nice place for it to the side for now. Okay, good job. And I'm going to grab these and I will do this part. Let's check it and see. Needs a little bit more time. So we're going to set it for an additional 5 minutes or so to let it harden up. It was still a little bit
5.
soft.
Got it.
Yep. So hold on. 2. Now 5. And that actually works out nicely because that gives us a chance to let our
this 5.
coconut brown up a little bit more. Go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just let it go. And we should be golden. All right, so we're going to let that go because we want the crust to be golden brown on the top. So, golden brown like our coconut. Right now it's still a little bit soft, but I think our coconut is just about ready.
Here it comes.
Okay, and then we are going to combine, I think that's just Abba coming in again, hanging out with the doggo. Right, so I'm going to turn this off for now. And then we're going to grab a little saucepan to make the coconut filling. Okay, so we're going to add more butter. Butter. We do love the butter. So we need 3 tablespoons of butter. And set this aside.
Looks like white and orange cheese.
Make a little
Smells
space.
like
This
cheese.
is very hot, okay? So let's not touch that part right now. It's very hot. Okay. So we need a saucepan. Let's go with steel. Okay. All right, so we need some butter. 2 tablespoons of butter. 3 tablespoons of butter.
Got these 2.
So, yep, you put that in there. That's about 1.
2. And one more. You don't need a spoon. It's heating up, but very, very fast.
Oh, good. It's ready to go. So stick those in there. Let it melt around a little bit. And now we're going to use brown sugar, or the brown sugar version of the monk fruit sweetener. Okay, and so for that, we're going to use 1/4 of a cup. It's a very popular seasoning. Watch out for your eyes as we're doing this. This one's 1/4 of a cup. So we'll get that one ready. Okay. So let's see. Let's get another spoon so that we can mix this around. So many things, so many things. But you make sure you keep your hand nice and high so you don't touch the pot. But you can grab this.
Can you protect my arm?
Sure.
I'm not done, so I won't.
But hold on to the pot. as you mix up the butter. It's good. We can work together here. So we're going to combine, once this is melted, we're going to combine the brown sugar. So Lecanto also makes a brown sugar version. We're going to combine the brown sugar and cook and let that melt. This is going to make a nice little caramel sauce for the coconut filling. So, 1/4 cup. Actually, it's 1/2 of a cup of the brown sugar. So, actually 1/2 of a cup is what we need. All right. That's one hot, and we don't lick the spoons because we're still going to be using that spoon. Okay. Now pour that in, but we've also got to be stirring as we pour as well. Okay, because we're going to mix this together. Okay. Yep. Hold the pot and stir, stir, stir. Stir, stir, stir. Okay, so it's on medium heat, cook until melted, and then I guess bring to a boil. So you have to make sure it all mixes up with the butter, even those large clumps. You've got to break up those large clumps that are in there. It's going to make a nice golden brown sauce.
Yummy.
Does it smell good? Yeah, I'm kind of loving this brown Lecanto.
I love the smell of it.
It smells glorious. So we're going to let this bubble up. We've got all the butter mixed in. Yeah, you can stir it up a little. Just be careful it stays in the pan. Because we don't want it to separate too much. Alrighty. Yeah, the coconut looks awesome. Nice and golden brown. And let's
Turn 0.
check. That's right. It's time to check on our shortbread. Yep, the edges are looking golden brown along the sides, at least on this square one.
I'm
So
gonna check.
you can touch it very carefully. I'll protect your hand. Touch the middle maybe, very gently. Yeah, good job. You did it. Maybe I'm going to turn the pan a little bit and let it cook for just a couple more minutes. So, I mean, cooking times vary greatly depending on your oven. This one feels like it might be a little more ready to go because it's a little more golden brown here. But we'll give it one more minute each. Stand back so I can close the oven.
I'll set it to 1.
Awesome. And then once this is ready to go, we're going to let them cool. Then we're going to pour the chocolate sauce on top. So we get a layer of chocolate, reserving a little bit of chocolate to drizzle on the top. Hold on. There. Now put it for just 1 minute. And then, let's see, we need to get this bubbling up a little bit because we want it to come to a boil. And then we are going to add, well, let it boil for 3 to 5 minutes. Even though it's already golden, so, you know, I guess it needs to boil just a little bit more. But I'm turning it up, so we'll get there a little faster. Meanwhile, we're going to get our cream ready, our cream, vanilla, and salt. So we're going to grab, how much whipping cream? I hope you guys are doing this too, or I hope you guys do this too, because I think this is going to be delicious. So 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream, 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so let's grab our little handy dandy teaspoon measures. We're going to measure out our heavy whipping cream, and then we're going to add this stuff to it so that it's ready to go. All right, Let's take those out and we'll let them cool a little bit, because I think at some point we have to rebake it also. So I think we should be in a good place for this. All right, I'm gonna set these right behind you, Miss Maya. And we have to let them cool for a little bit. Okay, I already showed you the circle one. That's gonna be our creative crust. And then I'll show you the square. So it's nice and golden brown along the edges. Okay, and that's what we want. It's still a tiny bit soft, but I think that'll finish cooking up as we add the ingredients. Okay, so
What next?
we're letting those cool. We're waiting for this to do some stuff here. We want it to boil, so we stir it around a little bit. Watch and being mindful of your hands here. Turn off the timer. And like I said, we're going to get this ready so it's ready to go once that is ready to go. So 3/4 of a cup of this.
Hold it.
Thank you, Maya. It's great having a sous chef in the kitchen. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup is this line right here. So we're gonna.
What's a sous chef?
That's someone who helps the main chef do all of the cooking. Sometimes they do chopping. Sometimes they do stirring and
skipped it.
cooking. Nope. Oh, because I was watching from the top, and I guess liquid can sometimes look a little different depending on the perspective. So thank you, Maya. I didn't see that because I was looking from a different angle. So now it's probably a little bit under, and now we'll bring it to the right place again. Is it there?
Yes.
Let's see. Exactly 3/4 of a cup. Now don't put it in yet. It has to boil. This has to boil a little bit first, but we're going to get it ready. So we need to add 1/4 of a teaspoon. So that's 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So you hold over here and I'll sprinkle. Can you hold it right in the middle? There we go. So just in case, hold on. There we go. You got it? Hold it nice and steady, Miss Sous Chef. Okay, now put it in.
Here?
Mm-hmm.
Milk?
Well, I guess we aren't going to be using that for anything else right away. And then 1/2 of a teaspoon of the vanilla extract. We'll just leave that in there so you can use that to stir. Starting to boil. That's what we want.
It's boiling.
I know. Okay, here comes the vanilla.
I might not be
Hold it
still
right in the
enough.
middle. Hold it right in the middle. Thank you. All right. Sometimes I add a little extra vanilla because I love vanilla. So I let it overflow when I add the vanilla. All right. That's good. Stir it on up, my darling. I think once this has been boiling for just maybe 3 minutes or so, so it's golden brown or deep brown. It stays there for now. Maybe we can stir this up a little bit. So there we go. Stirring it actually helped it boil a little bit better. So we want to keep it moving. Hold on, it has to boil for just a couple more minutes. So we got it nice and boiling. So we're going to set it for 2 more minutes. As it says, 3 to 5 minutes, and we are going to go with 3 minutes because this is getting nice and golden pretty quickly here. All right, and then once we do this, we actually, I don't think, need to put this back into the oven, which is great. So let's turn off the oven. Beautiful. And once this timer goes off, we're going to add the milk. We're going to stir it really vigorously. It's going to get bubbly, and that's what we want. And then we'll pour this over the top We'll put the coconut in and then we'll pour that over the top of everything and then sprinkle some more chocolate. So meanwhile, while this is doing its thing, let's make a little space over here so that we can start to dress up our crust. Okay, it's still a little warm. You would think that with my trusty musician calluses that I could pick up pretty much anything. I usually can, but this is still pretty hot. All right, so our crust, nice and golden around the edges. So we're going to take our chocolate sauce and we're going to pour most of the chocolate sauce as a layer over this middle. We're going to save a third of the chocolate sauce to spread over the top once everything is ready.
Add chocolate sauce?
Mm-hmm. So we're not going to pour all of it. We're going to pour most of it right over the top. And, oh, we got to stir, stir, stir. All right, you want to add the milk? I think it's time. So hold it high and then pour. Yay, that's what we want. Bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. That was pretty cool. So it bubbled up like a science experiment. But I've got to stir it nice and vigorously. So I'm actually going to grab my whisk. I'm going to stir it really fast. Yep, just watch your hands. Stir it really fast all around. Okay? No, that has to be really fast so we can do it together.
I usually start slowly. I start slowly.
You stir slowly?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And, oh, you gotta take it off of the heat. So, can you turn off that button? Turn it to off. Perfect. So, stir, 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 vigorously. Stir, 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 stir. Stir, stir, stir. Oh, and can you push the timer button to turn the timer off? Perfect. Okay, that's looking good. Stir, stir, stir. Okay. Bubble, bubble, bubble. And then, now we're going to add the coconut to this. So, just to save space, we'll put that here, put that there. All right, so we're gonna add the toasted coconut and stir it up even more. And then this is going to go over the top of the chocolate once we get the chocolate in there. All right, so in goes the coconut. And you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm going to add pumpkin spice to this mixture as well because I love pumpkin spice. It goes well in everything. And you know, we can't do this recipe thing without spicing it up a little bit. So, Maya, do you want to stir up the coconut? Mix it all together. Get it nice and goopy. And I'm going to grab my trusty pumpkin spice. And I love ginger too. I might even add a little bit of ginger to this as well. Pumpkin spice, where are you? Here we go. Hold on. So, Maya's going to add the pumpkin spice. Think that's enough? What do you think?
It looks
Does it need more? Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably enough.
ginger.
All right, so you want to add a little ginger? We can add a little ginger. We have a big thing, but I thought maybe I would use this one, but maybe just 2 shakes of ginger, or two pats, like you were doing. So boom, boom with the top. Yeah, like that. Awesome.
It smelled like ginger when I was putting it in.
Awesome. I love it.
See how it smells?
All right, so that's ready. So
It smells good.
time to start combining all of our ingredients. So we're going to add most of the chocolate, about 2/3 worth. Okay. No, I'll do this part. Okay. I'm going to spread it over the crust so it spreads nice and evenly all around. Okay, and then we're going to save a little bit to drizzle over the top at the ends or after it's cooled for an hour. Okay, so you won't see that part on the video, but let's see, let's make sure it's nice and spread around. I actually forgot to. Yep, that 1 tablespoon was enough to get rid of most of the bitterness of the chocolate, I think. Yeah, so it still has a nice dark chocolate flavor without so much of the bitterness. All right, so we spread that on, and then we're going to top with our lovely coconut filling. So we're going to take all of the coconut filling and we're going to put that over the top of our chocolate covered crust. Okay, so I'll put it on. We'll spread it around. And then this is just going to cool for an hour. Maybe I added too much chocolate. It's very, very chocolatey. But you know what? I think we're going to try and cool this in the fridge.
It smells like the pancake that we make.
It does, because that chocolate chip melts nicely for our pancakes that we usually make.
I like to do this one.
Well, I don't know if we're going to put chocolate on that one, actually. And it seems like, Maya?
It's not hot.
It's less hot for sure. But we are going to let this cool on the counter first to make sure that since we're using a glass container, we don't worry about any extreme temperature shifts or anything like that.
I'm gonna set a timer until this is done.
Yes, I think I might have added a little bit too much chocolate, so we are definitely going to have to cool it
I'm doing this so when it
in the
beeps,
fridge.
it'll be cooled.
Well, we can set a timer for an hour, but we're going to have to come back to it. So yeah, maybe since I added so much of the chocolatey stuff, I can top with just a little bit more of the coconut. See, this is the part about being flexible. When you see that something's not quite doing it for you, we try something to help even things out a little bit.
Can I try? I want to try that cookie.
Huh? Well, we're going to do something creative with that. Haven't decided what yet, though. So chances are, with the extra crust, we are going to do the creative thing, and then I'll post a picture for you at the end. Because, I mean, we could do something as simple as, I don't know, making another little caramel sauce and maybe sprinkling just that over the top without the coconut. Or I was thinking we could do a berry sauce, which might be kind of interesting. We have some strawberries and some blackberries, and those are low sugar fruits, so those are great for making sauces and stuff like that with. And then we could make it into like a strawberry shortcake or something like that. So as we continue on with our last week here, going back to the express to decompress, when we're talking about moving in our physical body, when you say express, that's the point when you take what we've built through our strong core, our strong foundation, and you refine it so that it matches your body, or that you can take where you are and maybe go a little deeper, maybe expand a little farther, and then let it go so you can be in that realized version of the pose. So in life, we have to be the same way. Like last week we talked about being flexible and going with the flow and waving yourself through life. Well, this week, in order to decompress ourselves, we have to let ourselves express ourselves however we need to do that. So we can't just hold in,
Mommy,
all of those emotions and all of those fears and all of those things that might be holding us back. We have to let them out so that we can get them out of our system. Those things stay in our joints, they stay in our mind, they stay in our hearts. And when we let them go, we make more space to build the things that we want. Same as with the yoga poses. When we are able to release, like say you're full of stress, and so when you go into your warrior, your shoulders are way up here and your arms are out here, and you're like, why is this pose not feeling good? And then the teacher comes around, touches your shoulders and says, just let go. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. And then suddenly you have so much more space to move and explore the pose. Same with every day. Same with cooking today. Like, oop, you okay? Okay. Same with our little recipe today. We had the recipe, we followed the recipe, and some things went perfectly, some things not so much. But instead of just holding it in and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is going to be a terrible recipe, I actually acknowledged that, hey, I added too much chocolate here, or it's a little bit liquidy, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. And then by letting that fear go, I was able to find space to find a solution. And I think this coconut is going to do the trick. So as you continue with the last week, find those spaces where you can go through all of the cues that we've gone through, the finding your nice strong foundation, you're moving from your core, you're waving through life a little bit, and then finally being able to express those things that come up once you find all of those things and let them go so that you can make space for all of the amazing things that are sure to come to you in your life and all of that stuff. With enough time, everything ebbs and flows.
My tummy's hungry.
Your tummy's hungry? Is it lunchtime? And then dessert time? Yes, all of those things. So I'm going to show you what we have so far. This is going to cool for an hour. I'm going to let it cool, start cooling on the counter, and then I'm going to move it to the fridge so that everything has a chance to really harden the way it needs to. We made that extra crust, and either I have to let you down. Can you? There we go. And so either tonight or maybe later on, we're going to come up with something amazing to do with that crust. Maybe we'll just eat it plain because it looks amazing. And then I'll post a picture or maybe another video with what we do with that creative crust. And I'll post pictures of the final Momoa bars, once we have a chance to let it cool, and then cut it into either cookie shapes or squares, whichever you would like. Thank you to those of you guys who've been watching. I'll post a link to the actual recipe that we used. And I hope that you'll follow her blog too. She's amazing, especially for all of the desserts. She has a lot of amazing savory recipes as well. If you're looking to, cut out the sugar in your life, add more vegetables, and spice it up. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I'm going to be running off to play
Mommy.
A concert for the Black Congressional Caucus. It's going to be wonderful. That's why I couldn't do this tonight.
I want to taste the cookie. I want to taste one.
Okay, we will in just a little bit, okay? And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. vibrate together in unison and get your cook on. Bye, guys. Good to see you.